Jody, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you started in your lines of work. Like I said, you do many things. You wear many hats, even from being an activist, a chef, an author. What started you on walking these paths?
Um, hmm, guess that's kind of a difficult story. I kind of got tired. I tired of waiting for other people to do something that needed to be done. Tired of waiting on people who always had answers but no action. So, answers when it was convenient.
I get it.
Like,
What what drove you to even doing something like this? This book, what inspired this book?
so the first book was inspired because I just started as I guess, a poet, going to open mics and everything, getting a good camaraderie with friends, which is kind of explained in the book that doesn't have a cover that's kind of drawn on. But the first book is coming up actually, May 14th. A friend of mine had an open mic spot at the time, and they wanted to do a domestic violence kind of art fair thing for a friend, Kat Bennings, who had been murdered by her jealous boyfriend.
Hmm.
So at the time when I started, because what is it, April, I believe, is National Poetry Month, but it's also Domestic Violence Month. Or it rotates, at least back then it was both same months. So I always write inspired by something. And since that was the month, I wanted to do a couple pieces. So I had a couple pieces that I had done at my open mic that I had started that year. And it was kind of like me getting my foot into the work or my pen into the work of poetry. So the friend asked me, to make a long story short, I accepted it. And 2 weeks later, the two partial half poems that I had turned into five stories, kind of like, I don't know. I watched a lot of story movies, things that
Hmm.
had a beginning, a middle, and an end, just like that, not like chopped up like how today is. So
Right.
that was inspiration to show people it was more than just, oh, well, he beats on her or she neglects her children or this person is just a domestic violence person or they beat on people, but you need to know why. The cycles continue. And yes, they are fiction, but no, they're
Right, right, right.
in a sense, what I did was take, do you mind? Because I'm not sure what type of set program this is, if I smoke a cigarette on the show or no.
Be you. That's what I want you to do.
No, because some people is like, I don't know, like Disney and other corporations like, oh, well, okay.
No.
So I am me at home.
Yes.
This really doesn't get shown, but at home I'm comfortable. Yes, I
Yeah.
still got on some of my stuff because I had like 4 or 5 meetings after this all day long. But um at home I get to be myself. At home I get
Yes.
to create all these people and their backstories, and I don't know. It was a good way because it's what it's about to turn 6. Yeah, 6 years old.
So
So
Jody, before you do that, I want you to comment on something that in this book, it was in the preface and it really, really stuck out to me. I couldn't help it. It was the society in distress. You asked the question of, are you really ready for your knight in shining armor? Have you taken care of your own insecurities, disbeliefs, and doubt about this man who has come to save you? Are you really ready to give away some of your control and be the woman he's been fighting so hard to save? Or is it that you just need someone to carry some of your baggage while you continue searching for you? That was deep.
yeah.
That was deep.
um yeah. It didn't, and I still like my thing with what spoken truth is I never repeat myself. Not a line, not a title, or I think in total out of the maybe 2,500 pieces, there's a phrase and something else out of all of those pieces that are the same. But with that, I wanted to show people because it's always discussed, but then we always get to playing the victim, typically, especially in
Yes.
society, of what happened
Mm.
instead of owning up to our own shit.
Yeah.
Ha!
Yeah.
Is it kids? I'm sorry. I'm
You're
sorry.
good. I want you to be you. Long as you're comfortable with people seeing you be you, I'm comfortable. But continue. Tell us.
I know you're horizontal, I'm vertical. Would you like me to rotate it or is that good for you?
No, this is perfect.
Okay.
This is perfect. But about this book, like you said, that what that stuck out to me really big because a lot of us women, we are looking for knight in shining armors. And I think as you hit on it, am I really looking for someone to carry my baggage while I continue searching for myself? That hit home. that hit home hard.
And for the men too, that's another thing that doesn't really get discussed is that's why I kind of focus heavily on I know what I look like, I know what people see me do, but until you actually hear the work, you don't really know. So like in the book, there's the other side of the coin, which is the male experience and why you could see this big hulking dude just kind of, I guess in today's societal words, simp out over somebody.
Mhm.
But here, find it. So in that, I wanted to also ask the men because there's so many male friends of mine that are trying to be the captain, saver, something, and aren't really ready to save anybody, including themselves.
Mhm.
So let's see. That is preface. Ah, so do you mind if I read the
Read.
opposition to that? Because I also like poems that have opposition. You can't just
Mhm.
have one point of view. So, as you gaze upon your damsel, your future queen, with her hidden scars, mountains of regret, and unmarked graves of those that came before you, with lies so sweet, but they still chose to move their feet. You tell her, as all the ones have done before, your heart cannot give her peace.
Mm. Mm.
It's contrast. It's a way for, because the book itself, I go back and read it every now and then, and I'm like, oh, crap. I hope children, well, I mean, I guess I do kind of hope teens maybe entering into college get a chance, and a few of them do, to read this book, but I'm not a person that does fluff
Mhm.
or concealment. If there's blood, if there's cursing and violence, you're going to hear it because that's in life.
Yeah.
Just go around expecting the fairy tale ending.
Yeah. Definitely. So this book can be found in Toledo Public Library. Am I correct about that?
Yep, that one and volume two. I'm waiting on them to put it on a shelf because of pandemicals.
Mm.
It was accepted in what was it, January or
Mm.
December. Book two was. Book one has been there for a year, but with them shifting around and cleaning books, you might have to call down there and see if it's available. Yes.
Yeah.
But it'll be when it does. I'll do it. Go up to the thing and be like, "Hey,
Yeah. That's an amazing milestone. And as we spoke on the phone, I congratulate you for that, that we can walk in the library and actually check out Tears of the Wounded. That's a big step. But that's not all you do. You're a part of CSRN,
yes."
Community Solidarity Response Network. Um, Tell us about that. What goes on with that?
Um, I guess we're the group of individuals in the community that slap back, in a sense. And it's not just for making noise or to get some grant or to do some nice little fundraiser and give people hope and disappear. We have been doing this consistently for 7 years. In
Mm.
essence, at the core of what things are. Like, okay, me personally, and I know people that may watch the videos like, what is around his neck and all that. Why did he like that thing? I'm spiritual versus religious or indoctrinated or scripture wise.
Hmm.
So I think I live my way kind of by the way of things at their core. So BLM or any other activist movement in itself had a start to fight for people that have been that can't speak out for themselves, that have been
Hmm.
murdered or some type of injustice. The planet itself, which we try, and we'll be back at it again with the water thing, but at its core is you want life to succeed, not corporate entities.
Hmm.
very hard battle. And no matter how you phrase it, I see a lot of what's going on in the world. I just stop commenting on it. I go to protest when I can. Again, today there's one going on. Yeah, it's been about 20 minutes going on now, but I have people there versus always putting myself in the picture. There, we're there,
Yeah.
but you don't need to see us all the time. I think that's one thing that's gotten lost in activism is the constant search for fame because it's not. Um, a lot of people in this industry or in this business forget that they live on the backs of those that have been murdered and slain in the streets.
Yes, sir.
From it to accept some type of king on the mountain, you're standing on the backs of dead people.
Yes.
Reality.
Now, were you guys out there like when all the Black Lives Matter movements and the things that the riots that were happening in Toledo, Ohio, were you guys on site, on scene? What did you see? If you were there, did you see any of this?
I guess to put it an easy way, we've been around for 7 years and we're always there in some aspect that is good for the community.
Mm-hmm.
While I do not condone riots and stuff,
Yeah.
I will make our voice heard any way possible.
Yes.
Just in my face. You may not hear me talk about it because that's something that is done covertly. People, I don't know. The world is a very interesting place. I'm not trying to be famous for any of this. I'm just trying to get what's done.
Yeah.
The more people show their face, you put a target on your back.
Yeah.
Whether you're doing it for good or doing it for not, this work will break you. It's broken so many of my friends, and one little hand up could be the claw that digs into your back. So you have to learn to just kind of be aware of things, cheer people on, and sometimes show up, but you'll never know I'm there.
I like that. But why did you say, explain a little bit more, one hand up could be the, why is being seen too much or with this type of movement within your community? Why can it be a negative and a positive? Go more into that.
It could be a negative because a lot of activists, and I get the passion, I get the rage, I get the years of prejudice, but a lot of people have never actually had that loss. So they scream from a place of anger and wanting to get stuff done, but they don't know the damage it does to the family. Right? I always have that in the back of my mind, whether it's a protest, whether it's a raid, whether it's a die-in, or giving food to the homeless, or any multitude of things, hosting or going to a town hall, that somebody's watching me. That somebody was probably me when I was a kid trying to figure out why all these adults are screaming at each other and fighting. But what type of example am I leaving behind? I want you to fight for people just so people can come to you, or can donate to you, or so people can give you 13,000 likes in one day. It's kind of bullshit because the family at the end of the day is still suffering. You scream the names of these dead people, to say that lightly, but never go back to, hey, are you okay? The mother, the grandmother, the child left behind. How are you dealing with this? Because now you can't escape. I guess I'm kind of happy in a way that when my mother was murdered, social media and publicity wasn't like this. Because I don't know what I would do. It took me nearly a lifetime to come out of the hell just from being kind of silent and in the cut. But now your face is plastered everywhere, or your person. You don't even have the privacy of letting the dead die and be in peace.
Now, your mother's death, I'm glad you touched on that because I didn't know what you were comfortable with speaking about or not. What did that do to you? What did that, and do you feel that had anything to do with the person you evolved to be later in life?
Yeah, in a way. It I guess in the way you never know when your last goodbye is it. I had said goodbye and to my mother thousands, millions of times, even through foster care, even through moving to different places every 3 months and all the stuff we went through as childhood, and always knowing she was going to come back eventually. And that it let me know that some people don't come back, no matter how badly you want them to, or what you would like to show them, or celebrate with them, or find comfort in them, that you have to realize some things do have an end date, even if it's not of their own doing. You got to appreciate life, to accept the things you cannot change, and fight for the things you can.
I like
Um,
that.
for a lot of years, I was lost in a sense, kind of trying to find out how to explain to this. Is kind of where all the books and all the other little branches of me come from nowadays, is context. Um, that I do as much as I can while I'm here.
When you discovered Buddhism and you had the choice to be a Christian as well, a Muslim, or any other thing, what gravitated you to that spirit, man, that spirit of devotion to a deity or a thought? Where did Buddhism come in along with this?
Thought that would be a better explanation of it, or an idea.
Idea.
Um, so I've researched everything. Like, it's not just Buddhism kind of fell into my lap because it was something that I didn't have to point a finger at it in many ways in teachings. But yeah, I've researched or been baptized, and been through Catholic prayer, and been to, like, right now I'm celebrating Ramadan. Um, but I don't know, a little bit of everything. I've talked to just my scared fans, so-called witches or Wiccan people, and communed with anarchists and people that believe a whole bunch of things,
Yeah.
even if it's except like torture and sadistic people. But I have been around those in unwilling situations, thanks to the nature of my life, which is always traveling, and still found some type of common ground with them. Um,
Hmm.
it's kind of really finding yourself. If you only believe in the things that's written on paper, then you won't find life for yourself. You'll constantly be praising somebody or some entity for doing something instead of having the will to fight for yourself. Now, it is always good to have faith in something higher than you, or something outside the realms of what you can conceive. But I think a lot of people fall on the realms of that everything I do is fate or decided, or that even if I mess up, I can call out some type of name and be saved. And again, with my mom and stuff like that, you learn some things are permanent.
Mm.
And if you don't save yourself, if you don't fight for yourself, no one's going to lift you. No one's going to try and help you. Spending nearly what, maybe 7 or 8 years homeless, I kind of learned that too. I never panhandled, and I never tried to swindle anybody for anything. I just kind of was patient,
Yeah.
learned kind of stack and measure out what I do, how I do. I live completely differently from even 5, 6 years ago, but I adapt.
Now, Jody, you were literally a child of the system. Um, and I noticed that you attribute yourself as Jodie L. Summers, child of the system, first, because that's where we come from, those injuries and traumas, and sometimes outlets, good outlets. Being raised by the system doesn't always have to necessarily be a bad thing, but what did it do to you and for you?
It's kind of along the same lines, except my mom was more of a traumatic thing, but learning that nothing is ever permanent. Even if you had found a good home with somebody and everything was right, you could always have that one kid that comes in and messes it
Yeah.
up. But yeah, it taught me a lot of things. I got into sports, I got to travel, I got to learn families, which something me and my sister always moving around and finding different friends wasn't something we were used to. Our extended family, which we're closer to now as adults than when we were as kids, but it was interesting. Still remember meeting new kids for the first time, and I don't know, the different houses I lived at and situations and stuff. But I don't know. It also taught me not to trust the system.
Hmm. Yeah.
Again, the stuff that they were teaching us as we was getting emancipated, all of this stuff, and that's initially how I lost in the first place, became homeless, because there was things that my landlord had done that I didn't know nothing about, contracts and stuff, that had I had a parent or somebody that cared would have stepped in and said no. But even after that, I think it was, they still held on to like $1,200 a month for like 2 years. Yeah.
Wouldn't you say that a lot of your pain and frustration and sadness um, made a lot of the creations that you have created? I've just recently purchased this from you, as you know. And what gravitated me to this is how you explained what this meant. Can you take a second to explain this creation here?
Yes. So that is Leona. Is actually the first piece, or the first and last piece of the collection. It kind of explains where everything goes. It's my owl, in a sense. Let me see if I can show people too. Sorry, 1 second. I have a copy here, so that way I can explain it to you as you see it too.
Yes.
Um, you have too much art. So the owl came about. I started the 30 because, which is another fascinating thing, actually, is that I sold 30 manuscripts before I even published my book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there we go. So the audience can see it too. So when I started doing the art and illustrating everything, it was honestly because book 2, I wanted to have a cover like anybody else. Still didn't turn out that way, but in essence, with the boxes, I get to see that dream lived out. But every chapter had something in it that fit me. And everybody that I went to was like, oh, I got this digital program. And I'm like, no, can you draw it? They're like, what do you mean? So I started drawing everything. July 4th, 2017. I kind of was sitting here, I had nothing to celebrate and everything. So I took back my 4th of July anyway. And with her, you kind of see the pieces before and everything after the collection. So everything that exists in his world, which his name is Stephen. You'll find him in a lot of the illustrations. He's kind of the character that witnesses this world that's like ours, but not ours. So everything that is there, you can see from this. Because as I was traveling the world and stuff, you'll see a lot of owls. I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything, but I always found that interesting. So something is always watching. And within its eyes, at the time, we were going through this thing with the Trump man, and he was throwing paper towels at Puerto Rico. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
After
Yeah.
the hurricane and stuff. So in that, it's the eyes are the key to the soul. And I wanted to explain the difference between our history, which is Africa, and I threw in Madagascar, because it's still, and there's a whole bunch like Cape Town and I forget the island that's like a triangle here, but it was too much detail for me to draw, but their territory. So with the United States, which I always kind of, there's a few more illustrations where I do the opposite of each. But you have Alaska, you have Puerto Rico, you have Hawaii, and our territories. So all that there, and there's a couple more. But I wanted to show the contrast in between that. And all between it is hate, war, love, and peace. She was fun to draw. On her wings, you have, because I don't know, I'm weird. I've been compared to Basquiat a lot. Not because my stuff just, I don't know, it's kind of my dreams in a sense. I don't know if I'm about to see that. But yeah. So this piece kind of explains that is the final stroke of where I was going. Because up until this point, I focused primarily on blue, black, and gray. So
Okay.
to show you the colors that was coming. Everything in the world is here. And little
Yeah.
frog denoting us out the mud.
Yes. This is one of my favorite pieces. I was so happy about purchasing that. But before we get off of here, tell them where they can find these pieces, find those books. Tell us about your dream box. Let us know how we can purchase and support this movement, this cause. You.
How to find me would be I have an opening because I'm also a poet and a spoken word champion and like she said, chef and a whole bunch of other things. I'm an elected official, but my kind of intro is Jodie J. Summers, child of the system, or
Yes.
better known as spoken truth. So if you type any of those words into Google, you'll be able to find my pages. The books are Tears of the Wounded. Mostly, primarily, everything is on Facebook. But if you Google it, I'm pretty sure you'll find my links, my Instagram. Everything is interconnected. I have a page for every genre. So each book has its page. The artwork has its page. The Dreambox itself is a culmination of 6 years on stage and a lot of my life, where I put artwork in my books and things that I collect from traveling around the country and buying from local artists into a box. It's my poem, Simple Man, because I've read it back a couple of times at a few performances. I did not know I was doing it. I guess in essence, my words only is what brought me here today.
Yes.
Which is believing in them. Words and stuff have power. Right? We spell because it is
Yes.
spell in the universe.
Constantly spelling. Yes. Yes. Before we go, Jodie, is there a poem that you can, first of all, I want you to know, I didn't ask for an interview just for something to do. You are remarkable and always been to me in your own way. I would like others to hear what I feel when I hear you speaking. So if you can just exit us with a poem, whatever one you like. You know, my favorite one is Mama. I don't want you to, that, okay, please.
Now, this is how Spoken Truth ended. It's a set of like 45, 50 pieces that I memorized over the course of my time on stage. It's how I ended it, and I may do one more revision of Still Alive, but memorizing stuff is different. To anybody out there that may be listening or maybe watching, and entertainment is what you make of it. You don't have to sign a contract. Once you become your own equitable property, like give yourself some time and growth and generation, they will have to pay you to sponsor you instead of the other way around with all the stuff we see in social media. So, Mom, let's begin. Peace. Sometimes, yes, sometimes, when I'm just getting up and life is a little bit foggy, I can remember, yes, remember the perfume you wore. If I concentrate hard enough, I can just see a smile looking down on me, reminding me, yes, reminding me that everything is going to be okay. When the nights are cold and I feel alone, I can just imagine, yes, imagine the kisses you left on my cheek. But I don't, yes, I don't remember your voice anymore. I can't remember how it gave me strength as a child. I've heard so many voices and so many sounds that pierce different parts of me, even if I've only heard them once. It's like a memory I can't hold on to. Those 5 seconds, yes, 5 seconds where you're so immersed in your dream, and then it's gone before you could even say it out loud. This memory that was so vivid, complex, and filled, just filled with life, is now a scattered screen of fragmented pixels, just daring you, yes, daring you to find a pattern. Sadly, I've become numb, yes, numb to the outside sources. They just don't fit the pitch. It's the pitch I'm looking for. And even though I know that sound can never be repeated, I still remember your face. The favorite food you loved. The artist, yes, artist you would blast loudly as you rapidly cleaned the house. I can still remember your nickname for me. But the vibrations, yes, the vibrations in which you spoke escaped me. I still carry a picture. It has never left my side, reminding me that no matter where I go, I will always, yes, always have a piece of you. A recorded piece of history of the woman, yes, the woman that gave me life, which I shall keep with me, yes, keep with me until the day that I die. And even when my heart feels like giving up, I can look at my wallet where the most valuable, yes, valuable piece of parchment I own is a picture of you and me. Love you, Mom. Miss you, Mom. It's not poetry. It's the thoughts, yes, the thoughts in my head that I've only shared with the people who care. In peace.
I can't. It's one of my favorite pieces, you guys. Once again, you can follow Jodie on Facebook. Like you said, there's many pages to your artistry, your books, correct?
Everyone you'll be talking to me directly. I've learned to do this all independently. So when you do leave a message or a comment, don't be spooked that I may be online and just be like, hey, how's your day going? That's me. If I gave it to a company, and yes, it's very interesting, as you can see from all the autograph things and stuff that's in the box. When people come up to my table to ask for something, they're shocked at the fact that I'm still there, like designing their artwork after like a couple minutes. See you again. I don't know. You want one more?
Yeah, come on with it. Let's do it. Let me wipe my first tears, but go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
Speaking of that, so the piece before Mom, that kind of explained that and everything. If you've been going through stuff through 2020 and you just feel like it can't get right, sometimes you need self-care. So this piece, of all the other ones, it's kind of a combination. I may do a set one day. It's called Tears of Stone. I wrote this in the middle of an open mic or after an open mic, and it turned into a soundtrack on a film about men, black men unfiltered. So we got to speak on our feelings and why men are supposed to be so hard and unemotional. So here's a peek into that. I hope it helps you, whoever you are out there. Let's begin. Peace. I can't cry. Yes, I can't cry. I don't have time to linger in one emotion for too long. Happy, sad, upset, reminiscent, or just pure tears of joy. There are so many moving parts, and I fear if I sink too much emotion into one thing, yes, one thing, I become lost. So many things depend on me to be this statuous figure, bond into the minds of everyone I meet. To be that thing, that substance, that inspiration that might be growth inside of them. So I cry inside. Yes, I cry inside, filling up wells of bottomless remorse for people that just tried to hang on too long. It's not you. No, it's not you. It's definitely me. See, I never learned how to attach. I've always been bounced from one situation to another until my synapses get fully adapt to the environment and understand that they were real. Yes, real. So I smile. Yes, I smile. Because in that crooked grin, I give you every emotion I wish I could say out loud my fear, my pain, my love, my loss, my joy, and every emotion has encapsulated the growth of me in those few pearly whites. So I don't cry in front of people. Yes, I don't cry in front of people. But if you saw my tears, yes, if you saw my tears, you are blessed and cursed. Because those few, yes, those few precious moments of vulnerable insecurity are something I don't show the world. That, yes, that is the ultimate form of trust I can give. Not laughs, jokes, stoic nature, or the ability, yes, the ability to connect with you on a deeper level, even in just a few moments. But the liquid is the liquid that drips from my face when the wells overflow, and I just need a moment. Thank you for this moment in peace.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. You got folks over here like, oh God, this man, this is. I'm glad that we are acquainted. I'll tell you that much. I'm following. I suggest you guys follow. Get you a dream box. There's so many good treats up in there. I love my dream box. I love my piece here, and I definitely will be purchasing more to hang around the office. So that's what we're going to do. I thank you for your time, Jodie. Is there any other thing you would like to say before we go?
Keep going. It's one thing I definitely learned to get from the point where I was in my corner over there reading for paper to here is consistency, purpose, and repetition. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to support you. Least of all your family, because they grew up with you and they kind of always will see your struggles and not your triumphs.
Mm.
And people will take pieces and parts of you home. It's an uncontrollable factor of life, but you cannot always make everyone family.
Mm. Vibrational gratitude, Jodie. I will be talking to you after this briefly to see how you feel afterwards. But I thank you guys for tuning in to Arms, America Restoring Mothers and Sons. Bye now. That thumb.